Well, good morning and welcome to the Adult Education and Workforce Development Statewide webinar for June 4th, 2023. I am Jerry Hafner, and joining me today is the Adult Education team and special guest. Let's first begin with performance. For the current program year, look at this. Enrollment is up by 2,846 students. This is a 15% increase when compared to the same time a year ago, and measurable skill gains are up by 1.85, almost 2 percentage points, again, when compared to the same time a year ago. And HSCs are up by nearly 260 diplomas. Please continue the great work that you're doing, and let's continue to finish the year strong. Let's now turn to HSCs, and we've talked about total transcript in our regional meetings. As a reminder, this is a service offered by Diploma Sender that combines tests from different publishers to achieve a credential. Diploma Sender only considers tests taken from January 1st, 2014, January 1st, 2014 to the present. Vendors include TASC, HiSET, and GED. All three of these tests were aligned to the college and career readiness standards back in 2014. If an examinee has scores pre-2014 with GED, these scores will not count. There is no additional charge for this service, and Indiana will continue to issue an HSC diploma regardless of the test vendor. This will be effective in just a couple of weeks on July 1st of 2023. We sent an updated HSC testing policy to local programs, and we've updated our website with the updated test policy. And you can see at the bottom of your screen, this is the link to the policy. And please review that. It talks about total transcript, and it also talks about waiving the 30-day wait period for HiSET. And again, all this goes into effect in a couple of weeks on July 1st. Turning to JAG and Youth Adult Services, we really have the pleasure. Bart is not here today, but Brianna Morris is here and she has updates. Welcome.
Well, good morning, everyone. I know I am a poor substitute for Bart Doan, but happy to be here with the Adult Ed team from across the state. So as Jerry was sharing some wonderful outcomes, we like to do that too in the world of JAG. So Camelia, you can advance to the next slide here. At the end of May every year is the sort of end of our search for national outcomes. So our work with our students who would have graduated last year, the class of 2022, and we work to sort of achieve these national 6 of 6. And so most notably, and you know, always a big thank you to our adult education partners, the graduation rate. This year we achieved 90%, the goal, or sorry, 95, the goal is 90. And this same time last year we were at 91%. So that sort of additional 4% over the course of the year from basically June 2022 to May 2023 was the work of our adult education partners helping students achieve their high school equivalency, and then also those students who were back in high school as fifth-year seniors. So we are just really excited for that 95% graduation rate. 72% of our students are employed, which is really huge if you're, you know, looking at kind of the employment rates for 18 and 19-year-olds across the country. 83% of those who are working full-time jobs. Which is really incredible. You know, again, that's for us, that's anything above 20 hours of work. Part-time would be under that. And then, most notable too is this second to last measure here on the full-time positive outcomes. So those are students who are employed, who are in further education, or in the military, or kind of a combination thereof. So we certainly have some students who are in college and working while they're there, but 82% of our students are doing incredible things somewhere. And then also another big shout out to Adult Ed and our partners here. 39% of our students entered some sort of post-secondary education, whether it was a 2-year or a 4-year college or a short-term certification, some of which were through partnerships with you all for IETs or WEIs. And then also, one of the things we really pride ourselves on here is doing that kind of follow-up for an entire year with our students, and we contact them at least monthly to provide follow-up services. And so that's reflected here at a 96.5% connectivity rate, which again, if you know anybody who is 18 or 19 years old, to still be talking to an adult mentor in their life is a pretty great thing. Many 18-year-olds have, they've had their fill and they're done. So really excited about those JAG outcomes. We had in our state, 10 of our 12 regions met this outcome. Over 50 programs, like individual school programs, met this metric. And then as a state, we met this as a whole. So next slide, please. Bart also wanted me to share a couple of upcoming events. So we host a summer intern in the Jobs for America's Graduates program, working here with us at the state. This year's intern is a former JAG student. So we always look for ways to keep those kids connected and then to give them opportunities to sort of make some lasting impacts in the program. Our intern this year, I don't know if Bart shared this in the last meeting, but she actually secured a scholarship for her former school, Eastern Hancock High School. So if you're in Hancock County, you might recognize that. But a JAG student will be eligible to receive a $1,000 scholarship over the next 25 years. So she secured $25,000 to give out to JAG kids. So she is exceptional in her own right, and we're lucky to have her. But we also always look forward to including some of our other DWD interns in some activities, both within our workforce system and then other state agency partners. So you can kind of see the upcoming events where they have opportunities to learn about unemployment insurance and all the different things that make that up. And then the final most notable thing that we've got going on here in JAG this summer is next Monday and Tuesday, we are hosting our annual state training seminar. And so we will have our JAG staff from across the state meet with us here in person. We'll give out many, many awards. So we just really look forward to being able to celebrate all of our staff and their hard work over the past year. But we've got some really great partnership presentations coming from vocational rehabilitation and how we can partner with them to serve our students with disabilities. We've got presentations coming from the military branches. So big shout out to David Douglas on the call and JVSG team, but also hearing from the National Guard and the Marines, again, about opportunities for our students. So I think that is all we have to report, but summer is always a great time to be connected with JAG. So thanks, Jerry.
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to see the 95% and particularly having an intern who's a former JAG student. All righty, we had to take just a quick pause here, but next up is our good friend Jason Grays. He's the Senior Director of the Indiana Office of Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship down in New Albany. Hey, Jason, good morning.
Good morning. And I've just got a real short update today. We'll probably have quite a bit more for next time. So we are still working, looking at those, turning those IETs and really what needs to be done to turn those into pre-apprenticeships. We have a lot of registered apprenticeships that are really interested in this work and are interested in recruiting and hiring individuals who complete IET programs. Most recently, the IKORCC, the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Union of Carpenters, Millwrights, and Floor Layers. They are really they express a lot of interest in some of those NCCR individuals who complete those NCCR certifications and getting them and giving them direct entry, which means automatic wage increase, health insurance, and benefits into their program. So still some work to be done, but we're very excited about where this is going and really the possibilities of aligning this into a variety of programs. Also, last week, our office did some kind of strategic implementation for the next fiscal year and looking at what needs to be done. And I really greatly appreciate Laura, Roy, and Marilyn for all being there and really helping guide our work so that it better aligns to the great work that is being done with adult education. So very thankful. And again, kind of a short update, but more to come. So they always say keep them wanting. So that's I'll do that this time.
You bet, Jason. Thank you so much. Moving on, Jose, our friend from adult education, formerly of adult education, is here. And as we all know, Jose is the career exploration and advising coordinator. Welcome, Jose.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to speak for you guys to you guys this morning again. Um, Everyone knows me. Next slide, please. So about a month ago, I sent a letter out to all the directors on Indiana Career Explorer transitions, and for your HSC students transitioning to the workforce, if they do, we have an opt-in button. And so what you can see here is on their profile. I just wanted to show each student can go click on their profile, and you'll see on the opt-ins, and each section there's all 12 regions, and so that is if a student once they graduate enters in the workforce or wants to some work one services, they can click on whatever region that they're in, the corresponding region. It's a real easy opt-in process. Next slide. Once you click your region, you'll get a confirmation like it shows here. Would you like work one region to support you? Again, it's our support services. You click yes, and it's done. And so by no means does this guarantee any free training or anything at the work one, but what it does is if you go to a work one and the career advisor decides to put that student on their caseload or decides to work with them, well, now they have access, and it's a seamless transition on looking up access to that student, and so they can help them with the career exploration process. And so real seamless transition there. Next slide. So great. Like Jerry said, we have over 21,000 students enrolled in adult education today. As of today, we got 9,300 adult ed students that are registered in Indiana Career Explorer. So discrepancy in numbers there. And so I'd like to say if you need any more support with registering students, please reach out to the career exploration team. Next slide. Again, we can help with the assessment setup per, again, as we all know, the adult education grant. When you're at enrollment, you have to take all 3 assessments. And so we want to make sure that we're still in compliance with our adult ed grant. But again, we can help with the assessment setup. We can provide more personalized Indiana Career Explorer support and guidance at any time. Just ask. Majority of you guys know me or can shoot myself an email. I also monitor the Indiana Career Explorer inbox as well as the career coaching inbox. And so we're definitely get help with some more support or more clarification. And again, reminder, we do have our open training sessions monthly. Today's open training session, you will see that today as well. And our next one would be July 14th. But today we will have our open training session. So if you need any questions, don't be afraid to ask. We'll go through the process and show you anything that you need or with assessments or running reports or anything through Indiana Career Explorer. Next slide. Again, just for more information, guidance, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Pam Warner, or our career exploration team at Indiana Career Explorer help at dwd.in.gov. Also like to add for our ELL students as well, I will be sending a video out to all of our adult ed directors. It's a real easy process to change the language on your computer to whatever language that you need. Google doesn't do that anymore, so now you can just set your computer that. So I will be sending out a video. It literally takes 3 minutes. So if someone comes in who doesn't speak English or whatever language, you can have a dedicated computer to that students' particular language, so that they can do assessments, they can search any help online. And so we thought that'd be a really nice support for our ELL students and also our adult ed directors. If they didn't know that, want to make sure we can send that information out to you. Again, reach out to myself, and I appreciate everybody taking your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose. Appreciate the report and always great to see you. Great to see you. Moving on, Matt and Anshu have enters updates. Welcome.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am fresh back from my vacation, so I don't really have a whole lot of updates. What I am going to talk about real quick is the new webinar format for us. Obviously, you can see it's Teams. This is what it's going to be going forward. So this is our first one. Give us some leeway on technical issues. We'll try to get it worked out to where it's much smoother in the future. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I will go back through the chat and read them at the end like we always do. I do ask that you please don't fill the chat up, as I'll have to scroll back. It doesn't have a separate window just for the questions like the webinar did. So just be mindful of that. Other than that, Anshu, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. I touched upon this point on the last statewide call, but we are still getting queries from some of you on this. So wanted to highlight it again. If you're looking for gains, students view in inters, place. It only shows the gain in the focus subject. Please make sure that you check Table 4 Audit Column CD Issue Text. Second point, federal gains are based on the last gain that a student gets. If a student earns an HSC and after that date gets an IET gain, that will be the gain. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Also, we had issues where the testing was administered in the wrong order, as depicted in the image on the slide, where the student was first tape tested and then was administered Class E test. You can never test backwards. Within ELL, you cannot go down levels, and within TAPE, you cannot go down levels. You also cannot test backwards from TAPE to ELL. Someone who has passed a TAPE test cannot be an ELL student. The right order is from ELL to TAPE. Please, you're following the right order. That's all I have. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Anshu. Thank you, Matt. Well, the retired guy, Rob Moore, is here with us. He's going to present the Indiana Mentoring Project, and I understand you're back in Bloomington for the day, Rob.
Well, just for a few minutes anyway. I'm just stopping off to visit some directors in a program later today. So I just stopped off here, and I'm in the public library, so I have to kind of keep my voice down. People are reading and things. So just let you know that that I'm, as I said, visiting with and meeting with new program directors and also some that are not so new. Working with some programs that have very veteran directors and experienced directors on things like enrollment and performance. Sometimes we've touched on partnerships, internal structural and personnel issues. So if you would like me to meet with you and bounce some ideas off and brainstorm with you, you just give me a call or an email. Down there in the right-hand corner of the screen is my contact information. I'm happy to meet with you through video conference or in person because I have the time to do that. Speaking of new directors, I'd just like to welcome Mark Newell from the Bartholomew County Community Consolidated School Corporation, who's joining us as a new director this month, and David Hall at Martin University. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you think that potential students use Google to try to find you, or a place to earn their GED or high school equivalency, or to learn English or get certification? Give me an electronic show of hands. Are people using Google? Quite a few. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to consider something that would help you to locate your program higher up in the Google search results. And that will be found on this month's edition of Monthly Minders for New Administrators. That's a little newsletter I put out for new administrators. I send it out to them directly, but anybody can access it. And there is an idea there for you about how you can increase your Google profile so it goes higher up in the search results. There's the link I put in the chat for you. that you can follow right now and find out what that is. So I'm happy to work with you, whether you're a new administrator or veteran, on whatever issues are concerning to you, and that we can help your students in your program, your community. Thank you, Jerry.
Good morning, everyone. Laura Pastore is unable to join us today, so I will be sharing updates on her behalf. Next slide, please. As a reminder, the state enrollment goal for the upcoming program year is 23,000 total students. Individual program goals will be sent out no later than Wednesday, June 21st. This will come in an email to the director. Factors for calculating the program enrollment goal are where programs were as of June 19th on total enrollment, how far off from pre-COVID enrollment current numbers are, and finally, community need factors into the equation as well. If there is any concern or questions regarding how an individual's program goal was established, please send Laura Pastore an email, and an individual consultation can be set up with state staff. Next slide, please. There are going to be 2 new data capture points in Inters for the upcoming program year. The first will be student goals. Goals will be separated into short term, which can be achieved within a program year, aligned with NRS outcomes. And the second will be long term, which would correlate to the reason from a student perspective as to why that student is enrolled in adult ed. Next slide, please. Short-term goals are defined from the program perspective and would be one of the NRS measurable skill gains on Table 4. This includes HSE, TABE gains, TABE Class E gains, a career certification, a WEI progress milestone, or skills progression. 2 points to note are that a TABE gain would be appropriate if a student enters at NRS level 1 or 2 and isn't realistic to assume that they could move directly to HSE completion from their incoming assessment. This could also be used for a student with significant developmental delays, learning disabilities, or medical issues that may limit their ability to progress at a typical rate. For progress milestones or skills progressions, this would be selected only if it is different from any other outcomes. For example, if there is still an assessment developed specifically for the business, this would be different than other options, yet still a measurable skill gain. Next slide, please. Long-term goals are tied more to the student benefit they receive completing the program. There's multiple aspects of employment, entering post-secondary or the military, improving their English, or personal reasons like wanting to complete the HSE. And then there will be an option to check other. If you do select other, however, a reason will be required to be inputted as we want to understand how these services are being used by students. Next slide. The goals will be live on the demographics page starting July 1st. This new feature will offer the ability to isolate and review specific services at the program and state level. As programs have added additional services aligned with WIOA legislation, this can make it difficult to gauge the effectiveness within each area. This will be a resource for program analysis and help the state team increase supports and assistance in specific areas. It will also create a better understanding of motivations and how AE services are being used. Lastly, there has been a significant increase in students entering programs with a non-US based college or professional degree. Sorry, next slide, I forgot to mention that. Thank you. From program year 2020 to 2021 to current year to date, we've gone from 1,087 students with these credentials to 2,224. From 1,087 to 2,224, more than 10% of the total student population. When this type of education background is selected, it will trigger a drop down with industry sector options. It will not offer all sectors, but those correlated with high demand, high wage careers aligned to CTE descriptions. This will be live at some point in July. Adding this data point will help us better understand this growing subset and offer insight as we develop new resources and trainings. All right, thank you. That's all that Laura has to share today. Next up, we have fiscal updates from Donna Lovelady.
Hello, everybody. Just a reminder that we will be sending out today's slides from the webinar. They will be sent out this afternoon, so you'll be able to see all this information again. And for any links that have been mentioned, you'll be able to click on those in the slides. Now, next slide, please. Fiscal updates on our state spending. As you can see there, we're at close to 75% of state funds that have been reimbursed as of Friday, June 9th. We're up from about 68.6% of last month at this time. And I know that the money has been spent. We're just waiting to see the reimbursements come in, because that number, we want that to be a 100% state funding spent by the end of the program year, and all the accounting is in. Next slide, please. And our HSE fee reimbursement money, we are at 74% of that has been reimbursed. And again, I expect to see a lot more of that be going out soon as the reimbursements come in for the final weeks of the program year. Next slide. A reminder that closeout time is coming, and you will be seeing an email coming from the DWD Finance Office in the next few weeks. So beware of that. Make sure that you respond to that in a timely fashion so that they can get their reports done. And if you have any questions about that, you can contact me or directly contact the finance office, and they will help you if you have questions on closeouts. Also, later this week, I am going to send out last year's closeout training that I did. I'm going to send it out to all of our directors and fiscal contacts so that you'll have that to refer to, and hopefully that will answer some of your questions. Next slide, please. Okay, we're almost finished with all of the grant continuation items that we had mentioned last month. As you can see, several of those have already been taken off the list, and we are at the itemized budget part where you have sent in your budgets and shown me what you want for program and admin, and I am turning that into a spreadsheet to send up in the next few days to our DWD contracts team so we can get the contract process started. I want to thank everybody who sent in your itemized budgets on time so that we could get this taken care of and hopefully be ahead of our schedule from last year. Next slide, please. If you've been on your regional calls, you've been hearing a little bit about some money, some federal funds that are going to be held back in the coming year for WEI. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's say later in the year, an employer comes to you and asks your program to provide WEI services. However, you have used all of your funding, or you've obligated it due to programs you're already doing. So that is when you will apply for a WEI holdback fund to be added to your allocation. Once that is approved by Roy Melton or Jerry Hafner, then next slide. So you need it, you ask for it, and then we wait. Yes, it won't be added to your funds immediately. It's just like any other contract amendment. So what will happen is we will send the changes to our contracts team. They will enter that into a database. It will be reviewed by several internal and external state offices. And once the amendment is approved, then you'll have access to that funding. We just want to make sure that you're aware that it won't be instantly available for you to reimburse as soon as you get the approval. However, you will get an award letter once it is approved to let you know that that funding is coming to you. And the whole process for the contract changes can take 3 to 6 weeks. So you'll want to plan ahead as much as possible. So as soon as you hear of something, ask about it, get your application in, and we'll have those out to you so you'll know what to how to submit that. Next slide, please. And now looking a little bit into the future with IAACE coming up in September, I will be offering a fiscal session. There'll be some standard things that we'll cover in there, but I will want to hear from our directors and our fiscal people. What do you need to hear from us? What kind of questions do you have? Everything you were ever needed to know about finance, but were afraid to ask, this is the time to ask. So I will be sending out an email to directors and fiscal contacts asking you to submit that to me. And then that way you help build that session and get your questions answered. I look forward to seeing you. They'll be here before we know it. As always, if you have any questions on your grant or on your budgets, let me know and I'll work with you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Camille Manring, the Outreach Coordinator, and I have some grant updates and some other fun, exciting news to share with you all today. We have not heard about House Bill 1313 for a while, so I'd like to share some updates with you all. Our final outreach went out in May, and we'll be submitting the final report to the legislature at the end of the summer. I've been having the great pleasure to refer individuals to different programs across the state. There's a strong interest in the services that Indiana Online Only has to offer. And we'll be seeing how the legislature handles this type of outreach in the future, whether or not it's something that DWD does or if it gets passed on to DOE. Next slide, please. Another large-scale outreach that is happening at the state level, specifically focused on Regions 1 and 9, is the Quest Grant. The goal of this is to connect workers who are dislocated during the COVID-19 pandemic early 2020 to adult ed services and collaborate with Work Ones to make this happen. Regions 1 and 9, I will be sharing more detailed updates about this in our regional meetings. Yep, next slide. Thank you. I'm also very excited to share with you all that we're reinstating the adult ed newsletter called Inside Adult Education. This is going to include monthly newsletter updates and need to know information from our state staff. If you as a program feel like you have important information to share that you'd like to go out on a statewide level, feel free to shoot me an email with that content. If you have a staff member you'd like to recognize, a student story you'd like us to share, we'll be happy to do that. The first edition of this newsletter is going out next week sometime, so keep an eye out on your inbox for that. Thank you. Finally, I'm also going to start shouting out some of our programs who are doing an awesome job with outreach here on our statewide calls. I'm going to call this our Outreach Superstar of the Month. The goal is to highlight programs who are engaging in consistent, innovative, and effective outreach practices and just share some promising practices with you to hopefully give you all some inspiration from the field. So congratulations to this month's Outreach Superstar, the Literacy Alliance. Specifically, I want to share with you all that they do wonderful student spotlight blogs on their website, and they have a great newsletter that goes out on a regular basis and post regularly on Instagram. If you're interested in seeing their content, check out their website, follow them on Instagram, and congratulations again. Great. Next up, we have Roy Melton joining us with IET and WEI updates. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, and thank you. Next slide, please. As you should know, all the application materials are available on the website shown here. Keep in mind that you will have to submit an application package for any courses you want marked as IELCE, IET, or WEI courses for the upcoming 2023 through 2024 program year. You can start submitting those packages now. Next slide, please. Last week, I sent out the IELCE report to programs that run those courses. Please verify that all of your IELCE courses are shown. I have received confirmation back from most, but there are a couple I still need confirmation on. Next, I will be sending out the IET and WEI reports. In the meantime, please update your students' information. Indicate if a student has dropped the course, completed the course, or if they have completed and earned their certification. For IETs, if a student has completed the IET coursework but did not pass a certification, you should mark them as completed. If they completed the IET coursework and received their certification, you should mark them as completed and input their certification. Next slide, please. If you have an IET WEI combo course, when you update the IET information, it will automatically update the WEI report. On the WEI report, you can verify your enrollments. For WIs where the goal is remediation or HSED, you will update the student's post-test gains and the HSED gains as you normally would. You can run Table 4 by courses to verify. Next slide, please. For WIs that utilize a progress milestone, you will mark those in enters using a similar process you would do to mark IET certifications. To verify you have marked your progress milestone, you can run a Table 4 audit or run your Table 4 by courses and use column G. As long as a progress milestone is the last MSG for those students, it will appear in column G. Next slide, please. When you are developing a WI with an employer, you first want to start off asking questions and understanding their needs. Once you have a deep understanding of the challenges the employer and their employees face in the background, you can determine how your program will get credit for it. Most of the time, what the employer wants will fit into our traditional ways of getting an MSG, like remediation, HSCD, or industry recognized certification. If not, keep in mind we have the progress milestone, which gives us more freedom to meet the employer needs. When discussing how to meet the need of the employer contribution should be focused on removing the employee's barriers to success or incentivizing their participation. We would like you to refrain from asking employer to pay for teachers or instructional costs. Some examples of employer buy-in include providing space for on-site class, technology for the class like internet access or projectors, a screen, maybe students need laptops. They may incentivize students' time from work, and they may incentivize when they get a gain or when they get their HSCD or when they complete the course. As Donna mentioned earlier, the WEI Holdback Fund, or Jerry Money, will be available to help you develop new WEI partnerships. This fund is specifically set aside for programs partnering with employers for WEIs. If you have negotiated a WEI course with an employer and you do not have funds to move forward, please let me know or Jerry. Like Donna said, we are developing a one-page application to help you move forward with the partnership. And please seek us out before you move forward and ask the employer to pay for that instructional cost. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roy. Up next is Megan Hibbert. I know she has lots of updates about HiSET GED, totals transcript, and the elimination of the 30-day waiver. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everybody. Next slide, please. So the 30-day waiver will no longer be required for HiSET, so you can actually test back to back to back if you would like to. And there will no longer be, and you still have 3 opportunities in a calendar year. However, because of the issues with PSI, they have not sent over all the data yet to Diploma Center. So you may, after July 1st, receive an email from me asking for a 30-day waiver. And that is just because of the incorrect dates or the zeros or any other issues like that that we had to clean up on our end to make for sure that the individual does receive their credential. Next slide, please. 60-day waivers. GED does allow one 60-day waiver. The circumstances are that the entire battery must be completed and it has to be approved. The state will approve the waiver first, and then GED, the vendor, will have the final say. And I will be emailing you a waiver form out to you, just like I did with HiSET. Next slide, please. Diploma Center and official documents. As soon as you start testing with GED, please let me know because I have to change this in Diploma Center. I have to add the the test center ID number, that is a GED to diploma center, and make for sure that they are still going to be sending you the official documents on behalf of your students. This includes any addendum sites as well. So I will need both sets or all sets of testing ID numbers. Next slide, please. Diploma Center, just a reminder, if you have any questions and concerns regarding scores in Diploma Center, please contact me first. I can look up any information and see if there's discrepancy. Then I will contact Diploma Center on your behalf, and you will be line copied on the correspondence. Next slide, please. Total transcript. So how the total transcript works, this is something that Diploma Center has created on their own. It will take task, the high set test, and then the current GED test. So any test going prior to 2014 will not count. So you have to have a 500 on a task score. And if it's a writing, it has to be a 500 and a 2 on the essay. On the high set scores, the average must be a 9. And with the writing score must have an essay score of 2. Excuse me. So the writing score has to be a 9/2 with as the average. And then the GED scores must be a 145. Next slide, please. So here are just 4 examples of what a total transcript would potentially look like. So you can look at those at your own time, but it just gives you an overview of what possibly could be on a transcript. Next slide, please. And then for the regular transcript to still be earned, for high set, you still have to have an 8, at least an 8, and then obviously an average score of 45. And then for GED, you would have to have a 145 on all 4 tests. So high set is the 8 and it has 5 tests, and then for GED, it's 145 and 4 tests. And that's how the Diploma Center came up with the average score 9, is the fact that there are 5 tests and you have to have an average score of 45. So 45 divided by 5 would give you an average score of 9. Next slide, please. And then there will be a first quarter meeting sometime in mid-July. I will be sending an agenda out to you. And then please contact me if you have any questions and concerns, and have a wonderful summer break. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you so much, Megan. Up next is Amy Raymer. She has several professional development updates. Hello, Amy.
Good morning, Jerry. Before we change the slide, just a couple of reminders. The June PDF meeting is June 23rd. It is virtually at 10 a.m. And then also I've had a couple of questions about the PD plan coming out. Once the goals are finalized, it will take me about a week or so to get the plan wrapped up, and then those will go out to the directors and the PDFs after I've received those goals. Next slide, please. Just a couple of training or just a training option before we go into some other information. The June Links Universal Training webinar is for state models and supports for IET. It is based on the IET Design Camp. That is next Wednesday, I believe. No, 2 Wednesdays from now, June 28th. And there's a QR code. And then when you receive the slides, you can also click on the link at the bottom of the slide. Next slide, please. John Thurlow of Richmond reached out to me with some information. He was looking for some way to have digital access for his confined or incarcerated students. And so he actually located this essential education resource and shared it with me. So I went into get some more details from Essential Education, And so I could provide them to you. I believe John is already using this resource, so if you have any extra questions once you've looked into it, please feel free to reach out to John. And if you need his contact information, I can get that for you. But Essential Education offers an offline GED and HiSET practice resource. It comes as an academic bundle so that you can access either GED or HiSET preparation materials. It is a mix and match in terms of purchasing online and offline seats. So if you already use Essential Education and you purchase 70 seats a year, you can interchange some of those 70 seats to be offline. You don't have to purchase an additional license in order to use the offline services. Within that academic bundle, you will have access to TABE 11 and 12. I spoke with Rich at Essential Education, and he said when the 13-14 version of TABE Academy or 13-14 version of TABE comes out, if you are currently a subscriber and hold licenses, that will just be a switch over to the 13-14. There will be no additional charge to do that. Then also there's the GED Academy, HiSET Academy, and not that we use CASAS, but it could be a resource for a student in the ELL program wanting some digital access as well. All of those are encompassed in the academic bundle. There are two ways to access the offline resources. One is called a multi-access configuration. That's through a local area network, a landline. So you have one computer, a main computer that has the download access, internet access, and then that computer speaks with the student computers. And so there is some internet connection needed for that. But then if you want to have, particularly in an incarcerated situation, a single access configuration, you would need approximately 30 gigabytes hard drive space on each individual student computer. You can download the Essential Education offline resource to each individual computer. And then that student would need to use the same computer each time, but that they would still have access to these offline resources. And then they are completely offline at that point. And then the teacher can go in sort of through the back door to get the information on how much time the student spent on task, what they were working on, and that information. So again, there's two ways to access that depending on what you have available in the particular location you are trying to use a quote unquote offline resource. The multi-access configuration, which does require some internet access to the mainframe of the computers, and then that feeds to the student computers, or that single access in which the students' computers are completely offline and everything is downloaded to each individual computer. If you have more questions after you've looked into it, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to put you in contact with Rich, the Indiana representative with Essential Education, and he can go into more information about using the offline resources as well. Next slide, please. The professional development facilitators are having sort of a banner moment, I guess you could say, in receiving some additional federal funds from the state. We set aside some extra funds to add PDFs to some of the programs that had not previously had a PDF, or for programs that have grown and would need an additional PDF. I believe every program that qualified for the new PDF or an additional PDF has been notified, and the application was included in that notification. If you think you would qualify for an additional PDF or a PDF for the first time and did not receive notification, please feel free to reach out to me and we can have a discussion about that. So the criteria is included here on the slide, is based on enrollments. So you would be able to determine based on your current student enrollment and that the change over the last couple of years, whether or not your program might qualify for a new or an additional PDF. Next slide, please. And then congratulations go out. This is one of my favorite times of year that I get to congratulate programs that received a Dollar General grant. For 2023, there were 11 Indiana grant recipients. 8 of those grant recipients were adult education programs that receive funding through DWD. There were a couple of programs that were ELL programs outside of they were just community programs that are offering, I believe, ELL services to their communities. But 8 of those 11. So congratulations to the 8. Again, if you did not apply for a grant through Dollar General this year, I highly encourage you to do that for next year. Dollar General is very liberal on what they consider adult education services. And as you will see in the next slides, what programs receive those funds for varies greatly. So if you think you have something you would like to support, please feel free to submit an application next year. There's a good chance that you will receive at least part of those Dollar General funds for your initiative. So next slide, please. First recipient is Marion Community Schools. They received $10,000, which is the maximum Dollar General grants to recipients. Marion will be using their $10,000 to add an educational assistant / tutorer to their program. So congratulations, Marion. Next slide, please. Congratulations to CWI. They also received $10,000 from Dollar General. They have developed a new project in helping ELL students move towards successful college outcomes. They are partnering with Calumet College to support students transitioning from an ELL program, an ABE program into Calumet College. So they will be providing those supportive services within this initiative, this project, such as study skills, time management, note-taking, exam assistance, anything that a student that might have a language barrier will need extra support with. And then those services will continue once the student is enrolled in Calumet College so that they can be supported once they are in college and can still need those extra services. So congratulations, CWI. Next slide, please. CRC Brown County received the full $10,000. They will be using their funds to support their literacy program in their local jail. So congratulations, Brown County. Next slide, please. Learn More has also developed an initiative called Building Bridges to Better. They received $10,000 from Dollar General and will be using those funds to help bridge some of those students and that have barriers to employability, digital skills, and helping those students move beyond their barriers so that they can become successful members of their community. So congratulations, Learn More, and best of luck with your Building Bridges to Better program. Next slide, please. NEO received the full $10,000 as well from Dollar General, and they will be purchasing a new smart board, digital curriculum seats, and new resources for GED to use in the classrooms. So congratulations to NEO. Next slide, please. River Valley Resources received $9,000 from Dollar General. They will develop a curriculum and technology for their Region 9 students. Congratulations to River Valley Resources. Next slide, please. The Literacy Alliance also received $10,000 from Dollar General. Literacy Alliance will use the funds to support teacher salaries in their Project Graduate for HSC students and Project Connect for their ELL students. Good job, Literacy Alliance, in supporting your staff so that they can remain your staff and support your students. Congratulations, the Literacy Alliance. Next slide, please. And last but not least, Warren County Learning Center received $10,000. They will be expanding their ELL courses to move students off the all-important wait list and into the classroom. So thank you, Warren County, for finding a way to support those students and move them off of the wait list. Congratulations again. And next slide, please. I believe that might be the last slide. Yep, that's my last slide. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful summer if you are taking a short break.
Thank you so much, Amy. Well, up next is Jen, and she has IAACE reports.
I have no WEI, but I definitely have IAACE. Thanks, Jerry. Next slide, please. In case you haven't heard.
Sorry, I couldn't skip this.
Siri once involved. In case you haven't heard, the Virtual Institute sessions are all on the platform. The link is listed there. If you registered for the event, you can replay anything in all of them. They're all out there. And I will say that if you are truly interested in replays and you did not register, give me a shout out and I can try to make it happen for you. Next slide, please. Believe it or not, it is a time for planning the Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. I know it's like, well, conference is 105 days away, so therefore this is a little less. So it sounds really far off, but if you take 5 to 15 minutes each week, 15 minutes each week, and do a little planning, then you'll be extra prepared and you'll be thankful because that's a busier time for you. And this is less busy, right? Maybe for some, I'm sure. Next slide, please. It is also continuing time to invite legislators to graduation events. I know that Region 11 down here has one in August. They have Senator Braun coming to be a guest speaker. We worked on that for quite some time and it is happening. So think big, ask big, and do it early. Whenever it comes to the other things that are on here, this is all in regards to what our advocacy committee has suggested for the future. I know that we just went through this big long thing with advocacy and you're like, I really need a break from the advocacy thing, Jen, but we have to think of advocacy 365 days a year. Yes, we always have to keep it on the forefront and keep our toolkit active so that we are constantly making everyone aware of adult education. So check out the page. It still has all the links on there. And next slide, please. Have you heard that the award nominations are open? Yes, they are open for all categories. The nomination process will close on August 11th. The award committee is all well, I shouldn't say all, a lot of past award winners get all of the applications and rank them with scores according to a tabulation system. And if you would like to see it, I'm certainly willing to share it. You can just request that from me. The event, the actual awards will be again on that Thursday night of conference like it was last year. We had a lot of good comments about it being in the evening and being a prestigious affair. So I would encourage you to take a look around in your office, take a look around in your team connections, and also take a look around at other programs and other people that you think are doing outstanding things, and make sure that you nominate them. You can always nominate together, get with a teammate, get with someone from that program, work together and nominate together is totally cool. And if anybody needs any assistance with walking through the forms, I'd be happy to help you. The link there takes you directly to all the descriptions and the links are in titles. Hippo thinks we should nominate as well. Next slide, please. Have you heard? Perks are here. Yes, the perks have arrived. I've sent out numerous perks cards. They look like this. They arrive in a hot pink envelope. All the perks are listed on the website. Check it out if you want your perks card, and then go to that website link and request your card. We are always looking to expand the list of perks. So if you'd like to work on some perks in your particular area, give a shout out to the membership committee. The chair is Angie Reffo, and she would welcome the opportunity to work with you in your local area. Next up, membership benefits. I'm always surprised at the number that don't know about a benefit. And so that's why I threw this slide in there. Digital Skills Lab, we had one last week. It was quite successful. We had several participants on there. We talked about Google tools. Neil did a great presentation on how you can teach your students digital Google tools. That's available on the platform. So log in, the link, the link there, you can go to that link and it takes you to the platform so that you can view any ones that we've done in the past. We also have the digital skills resources that we are constantly adding to. I'm on the COABE technology committee, and with that committee, I always get extra stuff that I find out about, and I try to add that immediately. If there's something out there that you utilize that is not on the list, please send it my way. I get lots of requests from people to add things. Most of it, of course, is trying to sell something. So I usually only add something if it comes directly from something with adult education, COABE, or one of you guys. So check that digital skills resources page out. And if you weren't a part of Virtual Institute, maybe you didn't get to participate in Jay Snyder's session in regards to his platform. It is free for all IAACE members. He is in the process of changing it up and making it even better. He's using a connectable platform. But right now, you can log on to the link there. It will give you the password for the month for IAACE. And you can log on, utilize all of his resources on his websites with your students as well. So it's a great math resource. And well, an easy way to teach math is to have Jay do it, right? All right, next slide. A little bit of marking and saving the date. Our board and strategic plan meeting, the beginnings of it is June 23rd. There was a blog sent out to everyone about sharing what you think of IAACE's vision. I would encourage you to take a look at that. The newsletter will come out tomorrow with all of those links. Again, we talked about the award nomination process being open. Adult Education Family Literacy Week. It's never too early to start thinking about it. Mark your dates for the annual conference. The registration information opens July 1st for the conference, but if you need to know the cost associated, you can go to the website and it is available. The costs and stuff are available on there, so for your budgeting and planning purposes. Some other conferences, AAACE, its 2003 annual conference is on there. You can find all of those under the adult ed events on our website as well. In case you haven't heard, COABE is in Nashville in 2024, and we're going to make a big splash in Nashville. What happens in Nashville stays in Nashville. There's always the opportunity to do success learning stories. We have a really cool game that is going to highlight your adult learner stories for the conference. So I encourage you to submit the stories. Remember, they come directly to you or the director of the program. If you want your stories as well, just let me know. I can add you to. And they also go to CoWave as well, so that you can do all that in one step and make it super simple for you. Advocacy stories are always being accepted as well. And don't forget to join the movement. Along with Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, update your national literacy directory. Rob talked earlier about claiming your Google, making sure your national literacy directory is up to date, has all the right contact information from phone numbers to email addresses to class schedules. You can put it all on there, and it is a resource that it comes up it comes up one of the top lines whenever you're searching for help. So make sure you're up to date in there. And also in regards to the Google thing that Rob mentioned, we have a lot of resources from the past as well on all of that, marketing your program. It's all on the website and the platform. So if you're not a member, you better join so you can get all these resources, right? And next slide. Graduation events, all of that, legislator events, success stories. We want to know about it for the IAACE newsletter. So submit it to the email address and I'll make sure it happens on there. Follow the blogs, follow the newsletters. They're all available on the website. And I do believe that's my last slide, Jerry.
That is indeed your last slide. Thank you so much, Jen. Donna
you, Jerry.
wants to know if Hippo can speak on camera, whether her Harry, the cat has to have a say in this as well. So that's the question for you, Jen.
I'll be sure and ask him. He's already back to sleep.
All righty. Before we end today, in the audience, we have Mallory Bach. She is with CWI and she is the CoWave Adult Education National Learner of the Year. I promised Mallory that I would share some special photos on the webinar today. I've decided not to do that because I want to do something a little bit different. I want to give her an opportunity to come on camera next month. We'll share the photos and for her to give you an opportunity to hear about her year and her wonderful journey. So I'm going to ask Mallory in the next day or two on our statewide webinar in July, spend just a few minutes with you talking about her year. She was also the IAACE Student of the Year at our conference last year, but what an accomplishment. The CoWave Adult National Learner of the Year. So we're going to ask Mallory to do that, and we hope Mallory can join us, and I'll share those photos at that time. So thank you for joining us today, especially with the new format using Teams. The next Adult Education and Workforce Development statewide webinar is July 12th, 2023, beginning at 10. Have a wonderful day. Matt, in conclusion,
Okay,
we have some questions?
Several questions.
All righty.
It's going to take us a while.
Okay.
I'll take care of the first one because it's to me. Will there be an interns webinar on how rollover students before the end of the program year? Yes, we will have a webinar. I'm going to be sending out an email later this week for the meeting next week. Anshu and I just have to get some things together in the test database so that we can properly show you how to roll over students. All right, so now moving on. Will we be getting a list of task takers that did not pass, or is there a way to look them up? Megan, is there a way to figure out their task takers?
Yes, they would have to email me either the test ID or the name of the individual when they took the test, and I can give you that information and what test
Okay.
they still have to take in order to earn a total transcript.
Don't go off camera. You've got a few more.
I know.
All right.
I figured.
So, question for Megan. On the high-set essay test, when we receive the score of the writing test, we do not receive any feedback on the student's performance on the essay. On the multiple choice, we receive a categorical percentage feedback on the multiple choice that helps with remediation. On the essay portion, we only receive a score. If the student fails, we aren't given any feedback as to why the student failed. Could a suggestion be sent to PSI High Set asking for more feedback about performance on the essays? They need more feedback on the essays, Megan.
I understand. I will do what I can, but they have not been easy to work with.
You're going to do what you can. I
Yes.
hope that helps. Okay, next question. This is from Rob. Rob, I'll answer this. Regarding the new information on student goals on the demographics page, when do you think is the best time to capture and enter those goals? When the students register, or when the adult learning plan is made, or at some other point? Okay, Rob, every new program year, and this is for everyone, every demographic needs to be redone after July 1. So every student, even if they're a continuing student, if you do a rollover, if you put them in manually, all of the demographics have to be redone. That's why this is not taking place until after July 1, so that those new demographics will be captured at that point. So every single student, regardless of where they're at in the process, have to have all of their demographics redone. So all of the new ones will be added at that time. So it should be within the first few sessions or first few days of the new program year of whenever the program starts. So if a program is on summer break and they don't really start back until August, those students will then have to have all their demographics put in then too. So it's not really at registration for the new program year, but yes, at registration and when you're redoing the program year for the demographics. I hope that answers that question. All right, Megan, if a student has passed all the HiSET tests, but only has a score of 44, what score would this student have to have on GED test to qualify for his HSE certification? He's already tried to improve his HiSET score. You can't mix and match GED and HiSET, right?
You can, that's July 1st. Problem is with this though, that if they don't have that average score 9 and are at a 44, it might be best for them just to take another test that they already passed to get to 45. And it could be any test on HiSET, but they would have to score 145 on GED, but they have to have the average score of 9 on HiSET. So if they don't have the average score of 9, then it might be best for them just to go ahead and retake another test in HiSET to get to 45, because they're 1 point away.
Chris, you might want to email that with the specifics of the student to Megan, just so you guys can, I just want to make sure that you get the correct information you need for that. All right, this is a question for Donna. If any vendors are behind with submitting invoices, can those be submitted on next year's fiscal budget? Ivy Tech Business Office is transitioning to Workday or may not have all the invoices posted in our next new system. Just wanted to double check if we can't meet the DWD submission deadline. Is that something you want her to email you, Donna?
Reimbursements can be submitted to us all the way up through the time that you turn in your closeout packet. So if you have expenses that take place no later than June 30th of the program year, but it may take you a month or so to get that reimbursement ready to get back to us, that's fine. Just remember, don't turn in your closeout before you turn in your final reimbursement, because the closeout stops the money running through.
Okay. Megan, I hope that answers your question. If not, you can follow up with Donna in an email for specifics. Is that good, Donna? Thank you. This is from Carol Bible. Megan, if a student only took one test in the HiSET and passed the rest in task, will she need a 9 in that one subject to pass it?
Yes.
Okay.
And Megan, I saw a question, and maybe you need to address this in regard to Diploma Center, the view only of the results, and our intent to allow one person from a testing center to be able to review results in Diploma Center in a read-only mode. So would you explain that, please?
Yes. So we are going to give one person from each testing center access to Diploma Center. So if you're in an adult ed program and a testing center, it would have to be either the director if they're both positions, or the director or the test administrator. So we will have a webinar, or Diploma Center will have a webinar later on in July to explain to you how to use Diploma Center and the tools that you have. You still won't be able to see everything that I see on my end. So that's why I'm letting you know now that you're still going to have to contact me because you won't have access to the case notes. So for an example, if you ask for a waiver, I have those case notes in Diploma Center on all those issues, but you will not be able to see that. So that's why we're going to have a webinar later on in July regarding what you can see and what you're still going to have to contact me over. The other thing is too on that, if you end up changing facilities from a testing center, so if you're having to move to a different facility altogether, I will still have to approve the pictures. I will still have to approve the site on my end. And then I will have to update in that in Diploma Center. That way I have a record that you are moving to another facility. Also, sometime in July, when I get Diploma Center is also going to do another webinar as well. And this is going to be for total transcripts. So if you do have questions about Pacific students, you can ask your questions about that as well. So,
Okay.
does that answer everything there, Jerry?
All right, Megan, don't go anywhere. All right, so this is a statement and a question from Sheila Butler, but you had answered her in an email. And basically, she's asking this. If our students meet the total transcript requirements before June, the total transcript could be done in July, but it would not count as a diploma for us unless they had 12 hours in the new program year. So be aware of this, right, Megan?
Correct.
Okay, so you're saying that they have to have 12 hours in the new program year, which is different than what we have said in the past. If they're a continuing student, they only need to have one.
They just need to have hours.
In the new program year, because you can only earn the HSE in the program year in which you were enrolled. And with the way the periods of participation work over the crossover, if they were enrolled this year and continue over, they need 1 hour of attendance in the new year.
Correct.
Okay. I hope that explained it, Sheila. If not, you can email me and I can give you a little breakdown and help you out. If anybody has any questions on that for the enrollment stuff and the periods of participation. Okay. Are students only allowed to do one IET certification per program year? Are students allowed to be in an IET certification class and an ABE HSE adult ed class at the same time? Angie, students can be enrolled in any number of courses that you want in the year, including IET WEI. They can be enrolled in ABE HSE classes at the same time. However, you're only going to be allowed to have one gain for that student, and it will be their last gain per program year. So if they earn 2 certifications, that does not get you an additional MSG. It is 1 per student per year. Just be aware of that.
And Roy, would you come on and answer her question about are students allowed to be in an IET certification class and an ABE/HSE adult education class at the same time? So the 3 components of an IET are.
Thank you, Jerry. So thank you for that layup there. So as long as that student is doing all of the requirements of the IET, which is the contextualized adult ed, the workforce training, and the workforce prep, that is totally fine. Because when you send in that information, that's kind of an agreement that you're saying that every student enrolled in this class is going through this curriculum. So yes, I'm not sure why you would have that, where you would have somebody in the IET and the HSE course at the same time. But yes, you can totally do that as long as they're following the curriculum.
This is a statement from Sheila Butler. In case you didn't know, if you want to present, in case you didn't know, if you want to present at COAB in Nashville, the deadline for proposals is June 30th this year, extra early. I already answered that for Sheila. Will we be having this is from Angie Refo, will we be having a webinar about total transcripts so that we understand it better? I'm assuming that's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And Diploma Center will conduct that webinar
Okay.
in July.
Angie Refo, if we use Connectable, does the student need to fill out Connectable in the new program year for us to get their new demographics information, and then it will be transferred into Inters, or do we need to have them fill out a paper form again and then make those changes manually? I don't know, Angie, because I think this is the first year where we've actually had a rollover with Connectable. So we may have further discussions on that. I don't know which the best route for that is, and we can talk. So we'll get back with you on that. Email me that, please, so I don't forget to be able to have a discussion on which way the best would be. I think that is it. That is it. Anybody else got anything before we go? Again, as always, you can email any of us your specific questions on, like, if you have questions about IET, Roy can take care of those. So other than that, Jerry, that's all I've got.
We'll see you next month. Happy July 4th, and have a wonderful summer. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.